Hello, I'm Brendan Clark from Brendan Clark Horsemanship, and today I want to talk a little bit about horses that are worried or have certain problems that may arise maybe during training or on the ground. This horse behind me right here, he has just come to me from a girl who said he's kind of having some problems with, he's kind of a little spooky and he gets worried about things, and when you're riding him he wants to go fast all the time. And after she came for a lesson, I started noticing a few different things that kind of made me think he may not have gone through and had a very good foundation. So yesterday, the first day I went to work with him, I noticed basically every horse that I come from, I think there's a good lesson to be learned by going back to the start every single time if you find a problem. For me, every horse that comes here for training, I like to go back to the very first day like I had never seen them before, or they've never been started. That way I know I'm not skipping any steps, and I always will come somewhere along the line. I will find the problem on the ground. I like to try and find the problem on the ground before I get under saddle, especially on a horse I don't know. And if I know a little bit of background about the horse, it kind of is a good reason not to get on their back. And a lot of times you can fix a lot of the problems, or at least get a lot of the problems started to get fixed before you get on their back. So this horse anyway, I just started the groundwork with him. So the first thing I want to be able to do in my groundwork program is to be able to throw the rope over their back. So yesterday I got this part done. Wasn't very bad at all. So I thought, can go on. So I do both sides. So I noticed yesterday he was a little funny like that on the right hand side, or the off side yesterday. So he licked his lips there, so that's pretty good. So then I want to make sure that I can move his hind end around, which I have no problem. This horse is very feely and he does this pretty good. So I've checked both sides of that, asked him to move his front end around, so he's very good at this. So then I thought, okay, well that's good. So then I go to the next step, which I like to use a flag to be able to get them. I use a flag for two reasons. I want them to be able to, it's something that's a different movement. It's a little bit scarier. And I also want them, but I also want them to get used to be able to move off anything. The lead rope, flag, leg, whatever it might be, your hands. So anyway, then I went and asked him, basically I went up to rub him. And the problems she was having with him on this horse's back, this was exactly the same thing he was doing. He was running away from a leg. He was, overreacting to things. And that's exactly what he's doing right here. Now, this is step number 2. Now, the way I look at this flag is, this is number 1, it's a flag. Number 2, it's a saddle blanket or a saddle cloth, whatever you want to call them. It's a saddle. It's a leg, it's a rug or a blanket when you put on them, if they get cold. So these are all the things I look at this thing like. So if I can't do this and walk up and touch him with the flag, how am I going to put the saddle pad on him and the saddle? Well, of course, this horse has been ridden, so he's okay with the saddle, and he's okay with the saddle pad, and he's okay with the leg. But is he? That's the thing. Is he really good with it? So anyway, I played around with him for about 2 minutes yesterday, and I got to where I could touch him with the flag. So I'm going to just play with him here. You can see I'm not going to take the flag away. I'm just going to leave it right here. But to me, this is like him totally overreacting. Now, I do want him, if I was to wave the flag and ask him to move, well, then I would want him to move. But I don't want him to be running around crazy like this from the flag, just from me holding it up. So now I'm touching it on his back and I've got him to stop. But the reason I'm rushing this I want to show you something else I found yesterday. So then I walked down here and put this flag near his flank, and he kicked at it. And he's not kicking at that because he's like, oh, I'm scared. He's kicking at it because he's like, get that thing away from me. So now I'm going to go back to what I seen while the owner come for a lesson. And this has got nothing to do, this is not her fault. This has nothing to do with her. She's doing the right thing. This horse actually rides around pretty good. But once you would put a leg back and ask him to move off a leg, he would overreact to it and he'd kind of run around kind of worried about it. The same sort of reaction he had right there to the flag. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is if you're having problems under saddle and you haven't gone back and done, if you haven't done the groundwork, there's a possibility, and I'm not saying this is the case all the time, but in my experience, most of the time it is, if you go back and start doing some groundwork and moving your horse around and finding out whether you can move his feet when you want or you can ask him to stand still when you want, and he just stands there and does nothing and relaxes, you'll probably find, like we did with this horse, that some of the groundwork may have been may have been missed or it hasn't been covered. And on a horse like this, I feel like I could get on this horse, and I got on him and had him doing some stuff that he may never have done. He's got a nice, he lopes around nice and he does some things nice. But to me, I feel like if I don't go back and fix this sort of kind of stuff, I'm going to run into problems somewhere along the line. I.e., if, just say, for instance, I'm asking him to move his body around, move his hind end around, or move his rib cage, and he gets a little worried about things, he's going to overreact, and it's not going to allow me to be able to teach the horse what I need to teach. So anyway, hopefully that kind of helps a little bit. I know there's a lot of different, groundwork, the way we do the groundwork techniques on our website, but and of course, other videos we've done. But I just kind of wanted to talk about that this morning because this horse right here is a kind of a case where he has been ridden and he does ride around pretty decent, but he does worry about things. But I didn't have to get on his back to find it. It didn't take me very long to find what his problem was. And to me, if I can go back and get all this stuff good, then I think under saddle, when I put my leg on him or I, ask him to, do a certain thing, he's not going to overreact as much. He's going to become more comfortable. So what I'm doing right here is just letting him be comfortable with things, teaching him to learn, and of course, building his confidence up. So hopefully, this helps and it opens your mind a little bit to things that, may be going wrong under saddle, that you can definitely fix them while you're not on their back and you're out of danger and you can control situations a little bit better. So hopefully this helps, and we'll see you next time.